Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Mom Mode. Today, we have Haley Hendel on, also known on Instagram as Hot Mom Meal Prep. That is kind of, I think, what you're known for, right? Is that how
I
you
hope
kind
so.
of blossomed on Instagram? But that's how I came across Haley's page was I'm like, okay, wait, love her energy, love what she's doing. So I reached out to her and I'm just so excited to have you on the podcast.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. For those who don't know you, can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Haley. I am a mom to three beautiful babies. I am married to my husband. We're going to be married for 9 years next week, which is
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, we have three little babies. I am a stay at home mom. I do content creation full time, which has been such a cool job. I didn't even know that that was an actual job that you could have. And I love it. I'm constantly in my kitchen. I love to work out. I love going to the beach. Those are some fun things.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I love the beach too. 9 years. So did you guys like meet in college or like when, like, what was your
So
story?
we went to the same high school, knew each other in high school. He was dating someone else, I was dating somebody else, so we never really like crossed paths. And then I always love this story because it's so funny. He was in Texas playing at Weatherford. He played baseball. And I was home from exams. I went to UNC Charlotte. I was studying pre-kinesiology, thought I wanted to be a PT. It was like this whole thing. And he was home early from playoffs. He was at the gym running on the treadmill, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go run next to him." I'm pretty sure I went to high school with him, and he's so cute, so I'm obviously gonna work out, like, a lot harder if I work out next to someone who's cute, right? I go over to the treadmill, he, like, pulls out his headphone, and he's like, "Hey, Haley, how are you?" And I was like, "You know my name? What do you mean?" So I'm like, "Okay, whatever." Well, he ends up messaging me on Facebook, slid into my Messenger, and was like, "Hey, so good seeing you. Would love to go to lunch." And I was like, "No, we're good. We're good." My
Yeah.
mom was like, "Haley, you have to go out to lunch with him. He could be your future husband."
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like,
Those were like her
"Okay."
direct words.
Literally, yeah.
Oh my
Insane. I
God. So
know,
you
and
went
here
to
we are 9
lunch
years later.
and here you are. Oh my
Crazy.
God. Can you imagine? What if you never went on the treadmill next to the cute guy?
I know. Look at
Wait, that's
this. I
actually
mean,
really crazy.
I know.
Did you
It was
ever
a wild
like
story.
when you were in high school, did you ever think like, "Ooh, he's cute?" Or was it like
Yeah,
after?
yeah. No, he played baseball and I ran track, so, like, I would see him and I mean,
Yeah.
we both, like obviously, when we started talking to each other, we're like, "Okay," we always saw each other, never had any classes together, but yeah, he definitely was somebody that I was like, "Hmm, okay."
Yeah. Well, that's so cute. I love
I know.
that.
I know, so
Oh.
fun.
And then 3 babies later. So you guys reside in Charlotte, so that's kind of where you're from,
Yes.
both of you?
Yes. Yep,
Oh,
we've been
that's
here
so
for,
nice.
like, 18 years, so Charlotte is definitely home for us. We love it. We live very close to family, which is a huge blessing, and it's always just so funny staying in the place where you grew up for years. Because 'cause I'm like, "Oh my gosh, my kids go to the same elementary school that I went to."
Wow, that is
I know.
wild.
I know.
Yeah. That's probably special though. Like you have so many memories of like yourself and then to like
Oh,
have
yeah.
be on the other side now with like
It
but
is
also
very full circle, like, a very
yeah,
surreal moment.
definitely. So you have 3 babies and Haley and I were talking before this. They're about 3 years apart each of them.
Yes, so I have an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and then Scotty will be 2 this month, which is wild to me. I'm like, "How are you already almost 2?"
It flies by, but
I
in
know.
like the best way. I don't know. I feel like
I know.
not that I don't enjoy, I've said this before. I enjoyed the newborn phase, but I feel like I'll enjoy it more with my next since it was my first. I feel
Yes.
like it's one of those things where you're like, you don't know how long certain stages last.
Yeah.
It's like you're kind of like walking around with a blindfold on. Like you don't
Oh, yeah.
really know what you're doing yet. And,
No,
you
and
know,
I still to this day, like, I loved being a mom so young. So I'm 29 and I had Knox when I was 21. So I was not like
oh
celebrating
my
with all my
gosh.
friends at like the club on my 21st birthday. I was actually pregnant, which is amazing. And I loved how every part in our story like ended up and unfolded, which has been amazing. Um, but I feel like there was so much of his life that not I didn't forget it, but I think I was just so busy. I was working part-time. I was trying to like learn everything with him, and so I didn't fully sit in moments as much as I wish I would have,
Yeah.
and so I feel like that's always my advice to new moms, whether it's their first child, second child, whatever, like any mom really, is like sit in moments a little bit longer because they are so fleeting, and I feel like it's something our parents have told us for years is like, "The days are long, but the years are short," and I'm like, "Okay,
Mhm.
whatever." But now I say it all the time, and so when I was pregnant with Scotty, I just remember, like, just talking to Andrew, and I was like, "I need to make sure that I have time, just me and her, where I could, like, actually sit and enjoy it," and I wasn't trying to rush through everything, and
Mhm.
that I think her pregnancy and her newborn phase of life, like, just even the first year, was very, like, I don't know, restorative for me. Like, it was really cool how different it was and how much I enjoyed it, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I could have 10 kids. This is amazing."
Oh, that's so sweet. I've heard
Yeah.
another mom say that with her third actually, that, like, she just enjoyed it in a different way.
Yeah.
Because yeah, she was younger when she had her first. And I feel
You
like
also,
just in
like, don't know
general.
as much.
Yeah, like,
Yeah. You
but
become more
having
chill.
yeah, and like 21, you're young. I mean, I
Yeah.
wish I would have had my daughter younger. I mean, I always say like I'm very thankful because I love my husband. I would have never wanted to be with anybody else. I love how
Yeah.
my like love story ended. But I'm like, oh, if only we would have met a little younger.
Yeah.
It just I think the energy that you have and, just time to have more babies, time to have distance between your babies.
Yeah.
Um but 21, I think my mom was 21 or 22, and she's like, "Gosh, I had so much energy then." But
I know.
there's, like, this maturity of, like, probably with Scotty's pregnancy that made you, like, really enjoy it probably
Oh,
more than
yeah.
you thought you could.
Yeah, and you just learn so much, and, like,
Mhm.
it was so much easier, and I knew what was coming. I knew what to expect for the most part. I knew the kind of do's and don'ts and things that I should be freaking out about and things that I probably didn't need to stress about, and it was
Yeah.
just so nice, and she's such an awesome baby. So I'm like, "Oh, she was definitely feeding off of the fact that I was more chill and relaxed."
Yeah, I always wonder, like, if that's a thing, like, your first, like, all you do is you give them your time, undivided attention. Then your second, you're
Yeah,
like, "Okay, now time split." Your third, it's like, "Okay, I have 2 others that are running around. This is what I
yeah.
have to give." So you almost wonder, like, does that make them more, like, just laid back?
She is definitely laid back. She is so go with the flow, it's amazing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
So as far as, like, content creating, hot mom meal prep, how did that start? Did you start content creating first? Did you start like posting around? Obviously, like I know that you post around fitness, you post around nutrition, for you and the kids. How did that all start? Like what came first?
Yeah, so I years and years ago had a full-time job. I got pregnant. I was like, "Okay, I don't want to live in an office for the rest of my life." And so when Knox was born, I ended up working part-time just because I needed to make money for our family. Well, at that time, I had joined with Beachbody back years and years ago, and I
Mm-hmm.
loved it. It was amazing, totally transformed the way I viewed health and fitness, and so that is what really got me into posting on social media, and I was sharing so much of my life, which I didn't realize I really loved, and I was helping so many people, and so I kind of found my avenue there and kind of found my voice on social media there, which was awesome, and so I did that for years. I ended up stopping that a while ago, and I kind of had this come to Jesus moment of like, okay, I love doing this. I love that I have this small platform, but I also really enjoy helping people. Now, how am I going to do that in a way where I'm making myself my own brand and I'm not affiliated with anybody else because I wasn't at the time. And so I realized that there were so many people on TikTok doing restock, like fridge restock videos. And I had little kids at the time. I had Knox and Brody, I believe. And I was like, "This is food I'm not bringing into my house. Like, I bet I could do a restock with healthier food options. And so I started just posting little like grocery hauls, I guess, and like restocking my fridge, and it blew up. My following grew tremendously. I started having more brands reach out to me, and I didn't realize, like I said, that this could be a job. I didn't know that you could have management for it and make a full time income posting content on social media. And so I really dove into it. I started posting singular recipes on there. I started sharing more of my life and just what I do as a mom, the fitness routines that I follow, because I really had such a passion all those years ago for helping other women, but other moms especially in so many different areas, whether it was faith, fitness, food, family. And I've had the opportunity to really help so many people, and it just continued to grow and grow. And so with grocery restocks, which I loved and still love, I was like, I've been prepping for years, and it wasn't just like your normal chicken, rice, and broccoli meal prep. It's fun food, it's exciting food. So I think that in itself kind of changed the meal prep game for a lot of people. And I wanted to make it easy and tangible for other people to do. And so naturally, I started sharing that, and it kind of took off again, like the fridge restocks, and had a lot of things go viral. So my following kept growing, and it's kind of led me to where we are today.
Yeah, that is so cool because you just like it naturally started happening for you.
Yeah.
What's something that you obviously really enjoy, and I feel like there's nothing more exciting and just like great, like a great door to open, than, like when you're really passionate.
Yeah.
Um, as far as like how you do your like your meal prep, like do you have outlined meals, like staples that you have each week? Or like how do you keep it organized? That's my biggest thing with meal prepping. I'm like, okay, I would love to meal prep more. I have these weeks where I like have this bright idea that I'm gonna meal prep. I do it and then like it falls off the next week. I'm like,
Yeah.
ah, I didn't meal prep. And I feel like that's the most frustrating thing for me. And like following like your account, I'm like, okay, like what day do you meal prep on? What day? So, like, do you go grocery shopping and then meal prep? Do you grocery shop then the next day meal prep? Like, what has made you able to be consistent with it?
For sure. So I think so I grocery shop on Sundays. I feel like that is just a fresh start for my week. Whether I'm ordering and going to pick up, having them delivered, I'm going to the physical grocery store, whatever it is. But if I do not make a list, I find that I am spending way more money at the grocery store. And that was kind of another
Mhm.
reason why I started it was I really wanted to see how budget friendly, I guess, I could get and just not wasting food. Because there are so many times, I think we all go to the grocery store and we get spinach and lettuce and herbs, and we have these, like, high hopes of making something with it, and then you, like, go to open your fridge and you're like, "Oh my gosh, what is that smell?" And you, like, pull out a bag and it's, like, brown
Yep.
lettuce, you know? And
Yep.
so I said to myself, like, "Okay, I need to start making a list. I need to actually have some idea of what's gonna be most helpful for me." And I guess over the years, I've kind of created this formula for myself of, okay, what are my pain points? So, do I need something that's a quick grab and go breakfast? Do I need something that's easy for me to grab for lunch? Do I need a snack that I can have throughout the week? And so figuring out what those pain points were made it easier for me to kind of tailor it in to be like, okay, I'm going to make one breakfast option that I can have for 3 or 4 days out of the week because I don't love eating the same thing every single day. It's really easy,
Mhm.
but I also don't love it. And there are times when I want to have something different. So I give myself a little bit of wiggle room. So I typically do something in the morning, quick grab and go, or I'll do, like, a couple of snack that's, like, high protein snacks, right? I feel like as women, we don't eat enough food in general, but we
Yep.
also don't consume enough protein. Oh, I didn't mean to give the thumbs up. But we also don't consume enough protein, and so keeping those things in mind, I'm like, "How can I make something that's high protein, that's gonna be really nourishing, that's really easy to make?" Because I don't wanna be in my kitchen for hours on end. And that kind of led me to that that process of like, okay, breakfast, snack, and a lunch option. And that makes it a lot easier for me when I prep. It's also not overwhelming. And if that is overwhelming when you're starting out prepping, just pick one thing. Just be like, hey, I really struggle with breakfast. I find myself going to the Starbucks line and grabbing a coffee and a croissant, multiple mornings out of the week, which we all know that adds up and can get very
Mhm.
expensive, and it's probably not as good for you as something that you could make in your house. That's gonna be higher in protein, more nourishing, and keep you full for longer. And so just find that one thing. If you find one thing, then you can add on it, and continue to build that consistency, right?
Yep.
Which I feel like that has just made all the difference. And if I do have weeks, which there are sometimes weeks when I do not prep or I forget to grocery shop or I'm just too tired and lazy to do it, my whole week feels like out of
Off.
whack. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wow,
No,
I
I
need to do this."
totally get it.
Yeah.
Well, and then I just feel like too, like when you have stuff that's fresh in the fridge or that you can just warm up, like, I find myself going to like all these, beef sticks, which is fine, but it's not fine to be eating packaged beef sticks
Yeah.
or packaged granola, all the time. I mean, that's
Yes.
all processed. And like you said, as moms, we need to be eating healthier. It's just our energy and longevity will go way longer if we're
Oh,
eating
yeah.
nourishing foods like whole
No,
foods.
for sure, and I think too, that's another aspect of meal prep that I started realizing was that my kids also needed something, and I think I had that
Yep.
realization when I was pregnant with Scotty because Knox and Brody were old enough to go and grab something out of the fridge, and so I was like, "How am I gonna make my life easier with these 2 children who are pretty independent?" And I just started cutting up their fruits and vegetables and making them like little muffins that they could go and grab out of the fridge, and by doing that, I actually was helping them with that independence because they were like, "Oh, I can go grab a fridge snack," you know? I already have
Mhm.
things that are made for me, I don't have to necessarily ask my mom to go and do it, so, hello, no-brainer, I was saving myself time and energy. They were able to go and get their own food, and also with packing lunches, I do not wanna be sitting there cutting up fruits and vegetables every single morning. Or making PB&Js. I make those
Yep.
things ahead of time, and I
Oh, I
save
love
so
that.
much time
I
during
need
the
to do
week.
that.
Yeah.
I
You put them
need
in
to
the
do that.
freezer, put them straight in their lunchbox, it's amazing. But even just, like, the fruit, I mean, how many times, do kids ask for snacks during the day? And I'm like, "Y'all, go get a fridge snack. There's grapes, there's strawberries, there's cucumbers, there's peppers. You have at it. Have whatever you want out
Yeah.
of the fridge."
Yeah, and, like, it helps them eat healthier because I know, like, my
Exactly.
daughter, she will eat really healthy, and, like, the minute we give her, like, a f fish crackers or those Annie's bunnies or, after dinner, we'll give her, like, a cookie, the Trader Joe's, like, little cookies.
Yeah,
That's all she wants then. So,
I
like,
know.
the minute you give them, like, something processed with all this stuff in it that is really not good for them,
Yeah.
that's what they crave. So it's so
Yeah.
much easier to just, like, always have something fresh or something that you made ready.
No, for sure, and I feel like so often people will be like, "Well, my kids don't want that." I'm like, "You're the one that's in charge of the grocery shopping, and if your kids are not eating those types of foods, there's no one to blame but the person who's getting in the groceries, so you have to be the one that makes that decision to want to change, and I promise your kids will adapt. It's gonna be hard at first, but
Yeah,
they will adapt, and it's not to say you can't have any of those things ever again, but
for sure.
you wanna keep them at a minimum, and it will completely change the game.
Did either of your children, so, like, I guess the boys, because Scotty, I mean, I'm sure she's eating, but, like, the boys are older. Did they ever, like, have any food aversions or just not wanna eat the healthier stuff? And, like, how did you overcome that? Did you just present it to them until they finally were like, "This is what we have to eat?"
Yes, I have 2 very different children, which I mean, and Scotty, but Scotty eats, like, everything and, under the sun. She's a human garbage disposal. So is my middle child. He will try everything, which is a huge blessing
Yes.
because my oldest is a little bit more selective, and he didn't used to be, but I think it was a mixture of, like, textures and food smell different, and so he still to this day has a lot of food aversions and will not try a lot of what I make, which is so frustrating. But I don't remember who it was. I did not create this. I don't remember. It was some food account on Instagram that I absolutely love for moms to follow. They have this plating method, and I think it's like the 5 things or whatever it was called. So say that I made buttered chicken the other night in my crock pot. So we had like rice, we had naan, we had the buttered chicken, which one out of the 3 things there Knox will eat. So I get his plate and I put the naan, I put a tiny little thing of buttered chicken, a tiny little thing of rice, and then I'll do strawberries and cucumbers, which I know that he loves, I know that he will eat, so at least he's seeing the food and,
Mhm.
if he prods it with his fork, tastes it, whatever, that's awesome. He's having that, like, exposure therapy essentially is what it is,
Yeah.
but I still know he's eating something that's on his plate and he's not going without. So, I feel like that's been really helpful for us, and I don't force my kids to eat what I make, but I'm also like, "Okay, we are not about to make 3 dinners
Yep.
every
I
single
get
night
it.
for the rest of your life because that is gonna drive me nuts."
Yeah, no, I totally get it because Sailor, my daughter, and I gave her all the different veggies. Like I gave her veggies more when like you can start giving them the purees and then when you can
Yeah.
move to the solids like avocado, sweet potatoes, carrots, everything. And she would eat it and then one day she just nope, don't want any of it.
Mhm.
And I was
Yeah,
like, ugh. And so
I
she'll
know.
still eat fruit, but like I try to give it to her in her smoothie. So like I'll put like a bunch of spinach in a
Yeah.
smoothie, with like Greek yogurt and just like try to get it in that way. But I've been like, I asked because I'm like, what do I do? Like I want to start presenting foods in front of her. Like, hey,
Yeah.
this is what mom and dad are eating. It's really good. You should try it. But yeah, she'll look, she'll be like, no, no. Like she won't even
I know.
try it. Or like
I
and we'll try
I've
to trick her
also
too. We did
no,
pears and
yeah,
potato. Looks the same, right?
yeah.
Like because we skin the potato.
We are not opposed to trickery and bribery and all the things.
She
I have
knows.
found something that has been so helpful, which I don't know how my kids love this so much. If I wanna put vegetables in anything, more than likely it's gonna turn it green. So I just tell them it's like Hulk juice or Hulk muffins. I don't know what it is. These children love Hulk muffins. They have
Oh
a
my
ton of
gosh.
spinach in them. There's cottage cheese, so they're getting protein.
Oh,
There's
that's
eggs in
awesome.
them. So good. And then our greens juice, they grew up drinking. So it's like cucumber, kale, spinach, pineapple, and apple. They're obsessed. But I swear, you could just like find what your kid loves. If you have a daughter who loves princesses, you
Yep.
you make it a princess bar.
Yeah, ours is Minnie right now. She's obsessed with
Oh,
Minnie. And then
put a
all of a
Minnie
sudden she
Mouse
knows
sticker.
Donald. So I could be like, oh, here's what Donald eats.
Exactly. Exactly.
Here's what
Minnie
Minnie eats.
Mouse food.
No, I love that though. I might have to steal that juice recipe because I feel like kids
Yeah.
loves juice and it's like, okay, if you can get them like the nutrients and not just
Yes, it's
sugar
such a good
juice,
way. Yeah,
that is so good. Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like
super helpful.
yeah, and my kids are all just different. So yeah, it's nice to hear that like my daughter's not the only one that's like weird with
No,
like textures and
no, I think also people assume that because I make a lot of stuff from scratch or in my kitchen all the time and I cook these dinners and whatever, they're like, "Oh my gosh, your kids must be so healthy. They must eat everything that you." I'm like, "No,
no.
I wish. I try, but
Yeah.
it does not always work out like that."
And eventually I feel like, they eventually like
Yeah,
gravitate toward more different, things that they like
yeah,
or they're able to
we hope.
voice why they like it or why they don't.
Yes.
Um no, I love that so much. Um so most weeks you do meal prep.
I do. I do. If we have a crazy I mean, I was even prepping when we had renovations going on when we first moved into our house, which I know is crazy, but even doing something like that, you're in a season when it's chaotic and busy. You're probably
Yeah.
gonna do takeout more often than you are used to, which is totally fine. But for us, I was just like, we cannot do this every night. Like we need to have some sort of substance to our meals, and
Yep.
I also am into fitness. I was postpartum, and I realized that if I had these goals for myself, you know, I needed to eat appropriately and accordingly to what I was doing, and so that meant, maybe taking a little bit of time and figuring out new ways to cook things, because I didn't have a stovetop, we don't have a
Mhm.
microwave, so it's like, "All right, what are we doing? Where's the air fryer? What can I cook in here?" And so, yeah, it does take a little bit of thought and energy, but if you do it one day out of the week, you are gonna save so much time and energy every other day leading forward.
Yep. No. 100%. Um, with postpartum, so I know that you are into fitness. You kind of post a little bit around that too. What does that look like for you? So I'm sure that's changed from when you had one to two to three. But I
Yeah,
guess let's talk about like what you did this time around with, having 3. Do you work out at home? Do you go to a gym? How do you kind of once you get that clear from the doctor, pour into yourself?
for sure. So, yes, very different after having 1 to having 3. I also understood my body more and realized the importance of rest. So, I know when you have that 6-week appointment and if you get cleared, you're like, "Oh my gosh, gung ho, let's go. I need to do this." But also understand that your body just went through something very traumatic and that rest and repair and recovery is crucial. Like, I advise people, women now, to wait even like 8 to 10 weeks before you start picking up weights. You can go on walks and maybe do some yoga and pelvic floor therapy, but give your body that time to repair and recover. And I feel like any sort of postpartum progress actually goes quicker because you took the time to allow your body to chill and reset almost. But as far as workouts, I have actually worked out at home for the last 9 years and I love it.
Wow.
And it's looked so different. I used to have to literally move a living room table in my downstairs basement, and I had one set of, like, adjustable dumbbells, and I watched video workouts, I streamed those, I loved it. It was super great having a baby and working and just need something that was, like, almost mindless. I didn't have to think about it, and, through that season, I've been very fortunate to know people who create workouts, they create workout programs, and so for the last 5-ish years, I've had somebody that has tailored workouts for me, which has been amazing, and so I've been following those in my garage, and now I have a legitimate home garage gym, which is the best. There's tile out there right now, so it is a little bit messy and crazy looking, but we still managed to make it work. If anything, it's like, if you really want it, you will find a way to do it, and
Yep.
that's what we have going on right now.
How do you motivate yourself to work out at home? Because I know that's probably a big thing for a lot of moms is like
Yeah.
you can get all, sometimes you have all the equipment. Like I have a treadmill in my basement. I have a yoga mat. I have a kettlebell. Like I have this stuff. Now I go to Orange Theory because I'm
Yeah.
like, if I don't have something scheduled, I'm not doing it. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, I need more sleep in the morning. Or like, you think like, oh, during a child's nap. Well, they didn't nap. And then dinner time rolls around and you're exhausted. So
No, for sure.
how do you motivate yourself?
I think for me, just because 'cause I've been doing it for so long, I don't know much of anything different. I over
Hmm.
the summer joined some of my friends at a gym here called ISI, which was awesome, and I loved getting out of my house and going and being around a bunch of people. But I've also had people that come to my garage and work out with me, so I do still have that little community aspect, and I think because it's just so engraved in me to get up and do it no matter what time of the day it is, right? It used to be at 5 o'clock in the morning when that was my only available time, and then I got into the season where I could shift a little bit, and I had to shift because school drop-off times were different, so instead of working out at 7:30, I was working out at 9:30, and so it did alter my day a little bit, which was kind of frustrating, but I just knew that that was the only time I was going to have, so if I really wanted to get it done, I was gonna make it happen. And I've also just realized, I think over the years, I've loved having my kids watch me. And I know so many people are like, well, it's annoying to have my kids out there. It's frustrating. And I just want to be by myself. I want to have peace. Or I have a baby. I have a newborn. I have a toddler. Like, how do you keep them entertained and corralled? I will tell you, I have brought my kids' high chair out into the garage to give them breakfast while I worked out. I have a little playpen that they can play in, so they're, like, all in their area with their toys. I mean, I, like, look at past videos, I'm like, "There's been a baby on a playmat, there's been a baby in a swing, there's been a baby jumping on a little circle jumper," I don't know what those things are called, but, um, I've just made it work because that's what I love, and so I think if you really have workouts that are enjoyable for you and they're things that you love and it is at home, it's really great for your kids to also see their mom working out and taking care of herself, and my kids will go out there now and they'll deadlift and they'll pick up weights and use bands, and it's just so fun, but also if that does not bring you joy and that is not something that is exciting for you and it stresses you out more than it excites you, then yeah, go find a place where you love to go and work out and, you know, full send.
Yeah. No, I totally get both aspects. A part of me is like, I could be that mom where I'm like, it's so hard to like do it when your child's around. But then I find myself now in moments where I'm like, no, I want her to be around. So like,
Yeah.
and with everything, take the working out or like getting ready, everything
Yes.
takes longer, but like, that's the point. Like,
Yeah, and we
we
have,
had
like, nothing to
babies
rush
we
for.
had babies to, like, have them there, and it's so funny
Yeah.
because, like, sometimes it's just wild how, like, and it's a constant reminder to myself too, but, you're like, "This is what you wanted. We have these beautiful babies," and, like, yeah, like, it's important for them, to be a part of, like, when we're in the kitchen and meal prepping or working out or, like, they could be a part of it all, and it might
Yeah.
just take a little more patience from us as moms or even
Yeah.
parents, if your husband or dad's included, but I just think it's really important to do that, and
Yeah.
sometimes slow down.
It is. I
Um,
think it's a reminder for us to slow down. Like, I feel like we're always in a rush, and there's not
yeah,
really a need to be. Like, we need to have time with our kids where we're like, and even now with the boys, because they're older, and so they're definitely more hands-on than Scotty is, and does it take longer when they help me make pancakes? Yeah, absolutely, but then I'm also like, they're learning how to make their mom's pancakes, and they're
yeah.
gonna know how to go and flip a pancake on the stove at 8 years old, you
And this is
know?
like what they're gonna remember. Like, I have
Yeah,
memories from when I was 6, and I'm like, so your
exactly.
sons, like, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I missed or I loved making pancakes with my mom." Like, that's their
Yeah,
childhood.
exactly.
So I think it's just so wild that sometimes, we get so frustrated and I think it just there's so much, like, our nervous systems are all heightened, already just because of just life.
Yeah,
And so yeah, we need to calm it down.
we do, and
I feel like
honestly,
that's
I
something I'm
found that
learning.
yeah. Well, and I found too that it is so helpful just, like, doing something with them that does calm me down, so I'm like, "Hey, let's go play a little game. Let's do cards. Let's go color." And just, like, taking
Mhm.
5 minutes to color does something to me where it, like, resets me, and I'm like, "Okay, we can go and tackle what we need to go tackle now."
Yep. Yeah. No, I know. And like with Scotty, because Scotty's similar to Sailor's age, they're just sponges right now. So there's so
Yes.
much that like
Yes.
and like for you, maybe you already knew this because you have 2 older boys, but I did not realize, like, now that she's starting to, like, really talk and communicate, you're like, "Whoa," like, she's already learned so much from us and, like, just her
Yes.
behaviors, like, how she mimics, like, taking care of her baby dolls or taking care of things. You're like,
Yeah,
"She learned this all from us." Like, this is
I know.
wild. Like
It's crazy, and I think it's so fun too, just the difference between boys and girls for me. Like, my kids the boys didn't grow up having baby dolls until I was pregnant because I was like, "Okay, y'all need to know how to take care of a baby."
yeah.
But Scotty has all these baby dolls and princess dresses, and she just loves to do that stuff now. She loves to put on a dress, she loves to go and pick out her clothes because she's seen me do it a million times. She will take her baby dolls and goes and puts them on the table and goes to get her diaper and wipes and will, like, pretend to change their diaper, and I'm like, "You're pretend playing babies, like, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen,"
Yeah.
and she learned that from us, or from
I
me, and
know.
my husband, but it's just wild to see, it's so cool.
Yeah, I have this actually right before I was coming up here to record in my living or in my kitchen. There's a baby doll on the floor with like a pillow, like a baby doll pillow. The baby's head's on it, and then her
Oh,
little blankies over it. I'm like,
that is the
this is.
sweetest.
I'm like, this is so cute. Like she knows to
I
put the
love
pillow, the baby, the
Yeah,
blanket.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very. I mean, I have a nephew, so it's like the only like boy energy, like little boy energy that I've had around
yeah,
me, and they are so different than girls, like in such a fun
totally.
way, like just different.
Yes, yes,
Um,
100%.
just so like, ooh, like play with your trucks and go hit the baseball and
Yeah,
just
and,
like
like, jump off the furniture
yeah.
and bust your lip, and Scotty's over here well, and, having 2 older brothers doesn't really help because now she'll do it too, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, you're gonna be so tough, you're gonna be so tough."
Yeah, no, she will, which is a good
Yeah,
thing. Like that's
I
so
know,
good.
totally.
Um With having 3, how do you find that, like, you just give yourself time to, like, cool down? Obviously, with, like, everything going on in life, with the meal prepping, working out, drop-offs, pickups, just life.
Yeah,
What's the moments of like cool down, chill time for you to recuperate look like?
for sure. It has looked different no matter what season of life that I'm in, and I think that when you learn to adjust, your life becomes a little bit more chill, and you're not like,
Mhm.
everything has to be routine, everything has to be structured. But for me, I feel like because my job is on my phone or I'm on a computer, if I just drop my phone at night, which I've really been trying to do, at least like at 8:30, so the kids are down, I just try not to be on my phone a lot in general. I think that automatically helps me chill a lot more, and just going and doing bedtime and doing prayers and reading books and not being distracted, it helps me wind down, like winding them down. And I know a lot of times we get like this second wind when we're like, okay, kids are down and now like we get to have time for ourselves. But I try to remind myself that me staying up late scrolling or watching TV is not going to help me be a better parent
Mhm.
tomorrow. It's not gonna make me feel any better, and so I try to get off my phone. I follow this girl on social media. Her name is, Cease Campbell, Sarah Campbell, I think is her name, and she talks about having an analog bag. So it's things in this bag that are not attached to your phone. So it's like a watercolor set, crossword puzzle, a digital camera. And so I've started this bag of items that I have, and I also have some next to my bed. So I try and do crossword puzzles at night. It's just things that are not taking up that brain space. Like, I don't know. It's weird to explain because, like, obviously a crossword takes some brain space, but it's totally different than being attached to something electronic. And so
Yep.
doing that or reading, I also love a good bath. And I try and do that sometimes during the week when I can just like do Epsom salt and baking soda and have a little detox bath and chill. And I feel like those things help me relax. And it's not to say I don't like watch TV and stuff because I do, but I try not to have a lot of electronics at night. And I think that helps me wind down tremendously.
Yeah, I love that. So it's literally she calls it an analog bag. So
Yeah.
it's just like what she does to wind down or just like instead of
Yeah, or when she
scrolling.
she takes it out in public with her, so she's not, like, on her phone. If she's at, like, a coffee shop, she'll pull out
Oh,
a crossword puzzle. It's the coolest concept, it really is. So I've,
I
like, started to
love
adopt
that.
these things. I know.
Yeah, I need to adopt that because it's so weird. Like last night I was actually just talking to my husband and I'm like, we will lay down in bed and we'll get that
Yeah,
second wind and we're just scrolling. And
yeah.
like it's to the point where like my hands start to hurt. Like you're getting like that cramp from holding your phone, you know? And I'm like, this
Your,
is
like,
just
pinky's, like,
yeah, I'm like, this
distorted.
is
Yeah,
disturbing. Like the
I
fact
know,
that I've been on my phone for this long, God
I
knows
know,
how many, like, I would love to know how many hours I've scrolled. I'm like,
I
how
know,
many hours am I actually sitting here wasting my life away? Because
I
that's a
know.
big thing lately for me. I'm like, but I love that because that allows you to like, I think the biggest thing is like going to charge your phone somewhere else too. Cause if it's next to your
Yes,
bed, you're just going to
yes,
reach for it.
100%.
Versus like, I love the crosswords. So you have
Yeah,
crosswords in there, a book. What
yeah.
else do you have in yours?
I have my digital camera. It's, like, cheap. I bought, like, a $50 one, maybe it was 35, I don't know, something off Amazon.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because the boys are obsessed with it, but we'll take, like, selfies in the car, so it's like I'm not pulling out my phone, so there's not that element of being distracted further, right? Because if you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna take a picture, you look so cute." Well, then you already have your phone and you're like, "Okay, let me just scroll Instagram for a second," or I have to respond to messages, and so it totally eliminates that aspect of that feeling of, like, it I don't know, like, your phone doesn't need you, like, think about the olden days. If
Yeah.
or not even that far along, like, or far, in the past, but if somebody was gonna call you and you didn't answer because you weren't home, you weren't gonna know about it until you got back home and listened to the voicemail? So I'm like, it's
It's
not
so
that
true.
there's just,
And
like there's this sense of urgency, right, that is attached to
yes.
our phones, but it's more urgent for us to be with our children and to be in that moment, and so they think it's so fun having this little camera because 'cause we'll take videos when, like, they're at soccer or at baseball, and it's just hilarious.
No, I love that so much. And then like they can use it. I don't know. It's just something
Yeah,
fun for them to use, but
yeah,
it's
it's so
so
cute.
true the sense of urgency because if you think about it, there's times when I forgot my phone and then the whole time I'm gone I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I wonder who's texted me. I wonder who's called me. Like I wonder like did that person
Yeah,
respond back to me on Instagram or what's my
yeah,
email?" Like and
I
that's
know.
so wild to think about like that is not how life was meant to be lived, and
No.
especially as a parent, like, these kids deserve more than that, and, like,
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it, I'm 100% guilty of it, but I think it's so good to be aware of it and just
Yeah.
make subtle changes. Um, yeah, it's crazy. Actually, wait, there was a commercial yesterday that I saw, or maybe it was an ad, but it was about, is it called a can phone? Can Jam? No. Some, like, these phones, like, home telephone lines for kids. And I,
Oh,
like, loved it because, like, it looks like,
yes.
the old phone where, like, it's attached to it, and, like, they have their own phone number, so, like, they're trying to bring, like, landlines back, and my husband's like,
Which
"No," and I'm
I
like,
no,
"I
I
would
love
love
it.
that."
Well, like, think about it. If your kid is on your phone, they're like, "Hey, I wanna go call grandma." They don't
Yep.
even have to type in a number. They just
Nope.
go and search for grandma's contact. And
Yep.
so I've been like, I mean, I try to do like the things that we did when we were growing up, or like you'd memorize your parents' phone number, memorize your
Yep.
address, and my husband and I were talking about this, like having a phone that we just leave at the house and the kids can, like, they understand how to have a conversation on the phone, right? Hey, I want to
That's what this
call,
was
yeah,
about talking and, like, going and calling a number, like, it was all about that, how,
yeah,
like, bringing that back to kids and, like, having them have an actual
yes.
conversation.
'Cause it's
Yeah.
such a lost art, like, actually calling someone and having a conversation. It's like, for us, like, writing a check or addressing a letter, like, how many kids these days are gonna know how to do that?
Yep. None.
It's crazy. I know,
It's so
I know.
wild. Yeah,
Bring
it's
back
just
landlines.
yeah, I don't know, it was like can something, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love this," and they literally look like old landline phones.
It's so fun.
Um, and I just love that. I'm like, I want a landline phone back. I'm like,
I know. I
get
know.
rid of this dang thing. I mean, I
For
love
real.
technology, but then, yeah, for you, I mean, with being a content creator, like, do you have a set, I've asked this before, like, do you have a set schedule where, like, you allow yourself to film content or respond to messages, like, or are you just responding whenever you want at any time of the day? Or do you, like, kind of make hours for yourself to, like, okay, I can answer work stuff or do work stuff now?
So I don't have like a set on a calendar. These are my hours to do this and hours to do this. Should I do that? Absolutely. Have I tried to do that in the past? Yes. But I feel like when I do that, I don't leave myself enough margin to be flexible in certain areas. And so I've kind of veered more to the side of like, I'm very flexible with that stuff and I love it, but I also don't love it. I need to be more organized and more structured. And I feel like people also have this, like, preconceived notion of content creators where we're, like, on our phone 24/7, which is so easy to do. It is very easy to let that consume you, and I think years ago, it did consume a lot of my time and a lot of my energy where, like, I was just constantly like, "Haley, you have to get this message, you have to get this post, you have to do this, you have to do this." So much to the point where, like, my parents were even like, "Haley, you need to put your phone down. Like, I think you are addicted to your phone." And
Mhm.
like I said earlier, having kids, it just helped me understand that time is so valuable. And whether it's time with my children or time with my parents, or, at that point, it was time with my grandparents who have since passed away. And I'm like, thank God I left my phone. I mean, I just leave my phone in the car now when I go to family dinners, or if I'm going out to dinner with somebody, I would just leave my phone in my purse and I do not touch it. And so, with that being said, now that the boys are in school, I do like to have that time where I can film, I can respond, but then selfishly, I'm like, I don't want to do that every day because I wanna just sit and play with her, and
Mhm.
if I feel like if I time block my day so rigidly, it pulls joy out of the little moments, and I'm like, "Well, I can't go and get coffee with a girlfriend because I have to film today," or I can't go and go to Hobby Lobby with my mom on a random Tuesday because I have to film or respond to DMs, and
Yep.
I guess I'm just not willing to live my life like that right now, and so I do need to figure out what that balance looks like for me of, "Hey, you also have a job, and you need to understand that, like, you do need to have set hours for this job," and I do think I've gotten a lot better with cutting it off to where it's not consuming my mind all
Yeah.
the time because I mean, it does constantly go off, and at nighttime, like, I don't uh, not everybody is worth my time and energy, so I do not have to sit there and feel like I owe people a response or I owe people a comment back. Like, it's just not always worth my time, which is fine,
No,
I think
for
you have to
sure.
understand that.
I mean, like, I feel like being in content creating, one of the perks is you're working for yourself
Yeah,
and you can make your own schedule, really.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so I feel like that should be a benefit is you can do it when you want to do it or feel like wanting to do it.
totally,
I mean, I feel like
totally.
there's probably times when you're like, I don't want to do it at all for like a week
Yeah,
or like
yeah,
2 weeks.
honestly, yeah, even more now, and then I'm like, I feel like I need, like, a month off of doing anything on social media, but I love it too, like, it has it brings so much joy and so much connection, and the women that I've had the opportunity to get to know and to meet in relationships that have been fostered, like, some of my greatest friends I have met on social media, which is so crazy because then I'm like Andrew asks me all the time, he's like, "How did you and this person meet again?" And I'm like, Instagram." But it's like 2025, it's cool, everyone meets on Instagram, like, it's not a big
Yeah,
deal. But it really is just so awesome, the conversations that are had there, I've met some of the most amazing people, it's been the best.
that's really cool. So you've literally met like, would you say like a friend that you would just casually go to coffee with, like you probably met from Instagram?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and
Just
it's
like
just so
DM
cool.
or like how, like
No, yeah,
content creating or
no, DMs, like, these are just random
wow.
women that have been following me for a while, um, yeah, and just have messaged me back and forth, like, and there are people that I still, to this day, we will check in with each other, we've exchanged phone numbers, I will text them, those are the people that I ask to, pray for me, and I pray for them, we're checking in families and sending pictures, and it is the coolest thing, and I haven't even met some of these people in person yet, which is, like, weird, but it's also so
Yeah.
cool, like,
No,
I'm sure
that's
one day I
really
will.
cool. Yeah, no, that's really cool. I mean, I feel like even with mom mode, like every mom that I've interviewed, I swear most of them are in different states, which is
Yeah,
wild to think about. But same, I mean, I always check in on everyone that
yeah,
just because I've obviously like when I reach out to somebody, like when I reach out to you, like it's not that I'm like stalking your profile, but I'm like, I had a genuine interest in like what
yeah,
you're doing, what you share, how life is for you as a mom. And so like I get, you get a little invested, like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
I like, and then when I like talk with a mom, I'm like, wait, now I'm super invested. They were so sweet, they were so fun. Um,
yeah.
so it's really cool. Like that aspect of social media is definitely like really amazing.
Oh, for sure, it's the best.
Um, as far as like life with Scotty and having your boys at school, like how is that? Because like with your two boys, did you ever have one home with you and one at school, or did they both go to school?
So, I did have a brief I think it was, like, a year or 2 where Brody was home with me and Knox was in preschool, so it was,
Okay.
like, a 4-hour, really, like, 3.5 hour with drop-off times. It wasn't
Yeah.
that much, and he was basically, like, napping the majority of that time, so it wasn't really like a we had this one-on-one time, which I hated, but now with Scotty and just knowing that that time period is so short, it is
Mhm.
the most fun thing. Like, we just will sit and go on walks, and we hang out, and we'll play, and, it's so sweet, and I think just as she's even getting older and her personality is coming out more and she's learning so much, like, she just wants to follow me around the house. She's like a little mini me. It's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah. I know. It's so special. And I feel like, yeah, like she's a girl. So it's obviously like
Yeah.
just such a different
Oh my
like
gosh,
we're
yes.
talking about how different it is than with the boys. Um,
Yes.
how do you think like have the boys adapted well to having her as a sister and like realizing like, okay, we have to be a little more careful with her?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And it's the sweetest thing watching them love on her. Like, they are really the best big brothers. They are so precious with her, and, like, they will obviously try and, not like they're not like this with her as they are with each other, like, they butt each
Yeah.
other's heads, they argue and fight with each other, and they'll, like, test her a little bit, but she makes it known that she does not wanna partake in that. She will yell at them. She will be like, "No, Brody, no," which is so funny to me, and she just, like, holds her own, and then she tries to join in with whatever they're doing. So if they're playing Nerf guns or they're jumping off the nugget, she's like, "Okay, my turn."
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh.
"Okay, you need to chill a little bit," but they are so sweet, and I think it's been really cool just to see as she's gotten older, how much more involved they are. I mean, they've been that way since she was born, just going and checking on her crib, and, now that she's, like, able to jump in her crib, they will get in there and jump with her in the mornings and go and pick her up out of her crib, and it's just so sweet, the love that they have for her.
Do you think with like like how they're jumping and roughhousing, do you think like with having three, you've been more relaxed now? Cause like for me, like when
Yes.
Sailor's climbing or doing something, I feel like I'm like hyper aware and like, oh my gosh, she could
Yeah.
fall. Oh my gosh. And like, I always wonder, like, do you get like more chills apparent? Like they're going to be good. Like,
Yes,
because
yes. You
I have
definitely
not hit
do
that
get
chill
more
yet.
chill. I think I mean, we've had so many falls and bumps and busted lips and thankfully no broken bones. But the first times that it happens, you're like, "Oh my gosh, do you have a concussion? Do we need to go get stitches? What's going on?" And
Hmm.
now I'm just like, okay, it's really good for them to test their limits and understand, like, hey, if you do climb up there, you might fall. As long as it's something that they're
Hmm.
going to get like terribly injured from, I
Yep.
will let them test it out because I'm like, you know what? If you're going to climb up and you fall down, you realize that you're not supposed to be climbing up there, And I think that's with having the boys first before Scotty, I just kind of realized that I can't say no to everything. I can't constantly say, be careful, be careful, be careful. No, don't do that because then that's all they're going to hear. So I
Hmm.
have to just encourage them to either like try something different or, hey, like, probably not a great idea to go up the entire ladder. How are you going to get down? And helping them through that and not being led by fear, more so understanding that they also have to learn their boundaries and test the limits that they know for themselves what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
No, you're so right. Because I feel like sometimes too, when you say no, they get to an age where they're like, oh, no means I'm going to do
yeah,
it
no
10 more
means
times.
absolutely yes.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
she'll like play in the water outside and then she loves to run. And, I have shoes on her most of the time. But even if I don't, she goes right in the garage and then that
Uh-huh.
those wet shoes or wet feet on the garage floor, she just slips. And I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But I'll like run after being like, no, 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 slow down, slow down. And she thinks it's a game then, she's like
Yep.
laughing. And I'm like, okay, this is not helping it. I
I
got to
know.
figure out a
I
new way
know.
of wording it.
It's
But
crazy.
it's so crazy. Um, well, I guess for those moms, I just want to ask for like your advice for like the meal prepping again.
Yeah.
So, advice for moms, if you could give like any advice about the meal prepping, where your journey started with it, like what would that be? Because I feel like that is a big thing for a lot of moms. We struggle with is like eating nutrition for ourselves, fueling ourselves. Um, so what advice would you give to a mom that's like, I want to know how to do this?
Yeah. I feel like so often as moms, we are more inclined to put ourselves on the back burner with majority of things in life. But I've
Yep.
always been told that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So if you are not taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally, then you are not giving your children the best version of you. And even still, if you are thinking that you're giving them the best version of you and you're giving them 100%, which is amazing, what is that leaving you with? And so you have to make sure that you are doing what you need to do so that you can feel your best, so that you are giving your children the best. Because when you are mentally sound, you're taking care of yourself physically, like you're going to be able to handle their emotions better. You're going to be able to run after them on the playground and have fun with them and carry your kids up the stairs when they fall asleep in the car. Like those are the things that I think about. And also just like being here when they're, older and I'm 80 years old, like I want to be there to witness my children's children, and to be
Yep.
involved in their lives. And so when you look at the long game of this all, it makes it a little bit easier to take that time for yourself. And you don't have to go like gung ho and be like, I've got to work out 6 days a week and it has to be at 5 a.m. and I've got to get up and I've got to meal prep every single meal. Like that is going to lead to burnout and overwhelm. So you
Hmm.
just find those little ways that you can incorporate it into your lifestyle, and everyone it looks different for everybody. What works for me may not work for you, Nicole. What works for you is not going to work out for the woman down the street because we all live different lives. We have different kids, we have different circumstances. And so, like I said, I think really what it boils down to, if you're looking at like to full body this, is like find workouts that you enjoy, even if it's walking, right? It's to be something crazy.
Yep.
You can go do that for free. But also finding the pain points in your day. Do you need something that's quick for breakfast? Do you need something that's quick grab and go for lunch? Do you need healthier snacks? And just finding one thing a week that you can make better, that you can work on, it does make it easier. It's bite-sized, it becomes more tangible for you to do those things, and then as you go on and you become more consistent, you can add on to that. I feel like so often we try and go from, like, block 1 to block 10 and try and be a
Yep.
superstar, and no one's asking you to do that, and so you build on those healthier habits, and that way when you have a crazy season or life gets nuts or something tragic happens, like, your fallback is not square 1, your fallback is, square 5, where you're gonna be fine, and you just continue to build on from there. So, that's what I
I
would say.
love that so much. That was so well put. And I feel like it spoke to me and it's going to speak to a lot of moms who listen. So I really
Right.
appreciate that because that was
Of course.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and just
Yes.
sharing about yourself and about life. And I'm just so excited that you came on the podcast. So thank you.
Yes, me too. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Of course.